The Vietnam War created a refugee crisis when hundreds of thousands of people fled after the fall of Saigon. Many of them crammed into boats in search of a better life. They were known as the boat people. And Canada took in some 60,000 Vietnamese refugees. That was in the late 70s and early 80s. CBC reporter Judy Trin knows firsthand what that's like. Her family came to Canada from Vietnam, crammed into one of those boats back in 1979. And Judy joins me live from Ottawa. You must be reliving some of the stories, and your family must be talking about the refugee crisis we're seeing unfold in Europe. You were only 4 years old, Judy, when you came, but what are the stories bandied about your family?
All right. Well, Susanna, we had some preparation time because we were told by the communist government that our home was going to be possessed by them and that my parents, were going to be shifted into the countryside where they would be working as agricultural workers and they would lose their business. So they were given a short period of time to liquidate their assets and start the process of fleeing. So what my parents did was they converted all their assets into 30 pieces of gold squares, and that was their currency. Their currency that was used to bribe officials along the way, drivers who would take them to the boat dock, and finally the boat captain to take us to Malaysia because we understood that there were refugee camps in Malaysia. Now, in terms of our journey at sea, it lasted only 5 days, but we were attacked by pirates twice. The first time they came on the board, they had machetes, and basically they were just ransacking all the goods that anyone carried. There were 300 people aboard this fishing boat, which was roughly the size of a school bus and twice as wide. So you can imagine. My mother describes it as the way you would sleep. We were so cramped that you would be able to like turn and shift, and you would be able to touch someone's nose, and your feet would be touching someone's head. That's how cramped it was. Now, the first group of pirates basically took whatever remaining gold pieces we had left, our valuables. They would take the wedding rings off my parents' fingers. And then, if that wasn't enough, a few days later, 2 days later, we were boarded by another group of pirates. And they were extremely angry that we already had been robbed. So basically, they took whatever food rations and water rations that we had left. So this is basically day 4 of the journey now, but we were very close to the Malaysian shoreline. So we were very happy. My parents tell a story of how happy they were when they saw the island off in the horizon. However, the Coast Guard noticed us, and the Malaysian Coast Guard came and said, through megaphone, said, there is no way you're getting off this boat because our refugee camps are full and you're going to turn around. So in terms of their acts of charity, all they did was refuel our boat. They gave us some more potable drinking water, and then they towed us back out to international waters. So under cover of night, the ship's captain, the fishing boat's captain, basically said, there's no way we could go on. I'm not sure where we are. We're going to go back, and then we're going to try to sink the boat as close to shore, and everyone's going to jump into the ocean and swim for the shoreline.
Wow. You know, it's a story that you only read about, really, but you've lived it. And now you must be reliving some of that. As you watch the story unfold in Europe, as you saw that picture of 3-year-old Alan Kurdi, and you were just a little bit older than him when you left on your journey, how is that affecting you?
I saw those photos, and for me, I don't remember being, I guess, the first time when we swam ashore. What I remember is being hungry on that boat and needing food and whining and crying a lot, and my parents having nothing to give me. But my parents remember it well. I had a phone conversation with my mother after the story came out, and she was the one that said to me, that could have been you, that could have been your sister. I was 4, my sister Helen was 2. She was very sick. She was suffering from dysentery, she had diarrhea, she was dehydrated, and there was one doctor on board who said that she probably wouldn't make it, but somehow we did. And that is the first thing that my mother said, was that it could have been you. We were at that decision where, at that point, we were questioning ourselves whether we made the right decision, because fleeing a war-torn country, a country where there was no freedom, was possibly going to cost us our life at sea.
Judy, it's a story I know has a happy ending, and I want to thank you for sharing some of the memories as we look to what is unfolding in Europe. Thank you.
You're welcome.
CBC reporter Judy Trinh in Ottawa.